Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Deep Six Pro Wrestling Midweek Mashup. This is week 5, episode 11 of our Deep Six Pro Wrestling podcast. Joining me tonight, we have Randy Zelia from Back Sports Page, and also we got Emerito from Level 1 Games, Pompton, New Jersey. How you doing, guys?
Thank you. Good, doing good.
I think next week we have to open the show with Simi Guevara's message to M. I think that'd be amazing. But hey, it's good to be back in a great episode of AEW Dynamite. Looking forward to talking with you guys about it. Let's do it.
Em, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. This is one of the highlights of my week, watching Dynamite and then joining you guys afterwards to discuss it. So
it's like the post-mortem. It's like the post-mortem. It's like the reaction of the show. That's like there's a Talking Dead. So we're doing the Talking Dead aspect of pro wrestling.
We're not the originators of it, but we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. They haven't canceled us yet, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. What is it? Talking Dynamite, right?
Yeah,
I love it.
We're talking Dynamite.
I like that.
Sure.
That's our show name right there. Talking Dynamite. I like it.
I think that's the show that. I think that's the show we just finished watching.
Put it on a T-shirt. We'll sell it. Make millions.
Right. Pro wrestling T-shirts. Here we come. Pro wrestling tees.
Talking Dynamite, baby.
20%
So speaking of talking Dynamite, we're gonna jump right into it. We see the show starts off. We'll kind of keep it centered around the promo really quick. But we see the show start off with the Inner Circle. They're backstage. They're hanging out in front of a truck, and Santana's talking about how they got these T-shirts with the Stadium Stampede champion shirt and what have you. And then Santana's like, yo, I got this awesome deal. And then out comes opens the truck, and there's a truck full of boxes of T-shirts. And I thought this was a pretty funny segment to start off the show. You kind of knew where they were going, that they would end the show later on, which we'll get to. But what did you guys think of this segment? Little laughter to start off.
I thought it was good, sophisticated comedy there, and like just seeing Jericho's face when they open up the truck and how he had those T-shirts made up.
Yeah, he was disgusted because they didn't win.
It was just the look of disgust on his face, and just on how they're like, it's all right, we lost, but we're still going to celebrate type of mentality. And it was great opening. I personally enjoyed it. I think after years of watching Chris Jericho work, I think his work in AEW has been some of its best. And like Jim Ross says it every week on how he constantly reinvents himself. There's you can't argue that point whatsoever. The Inner Circle, and he's helping build Sammy, and he's helping put the shine on guys like Proud and Powerful. You can't overstate it enough what Jericho has done for the Inner Circle.
Dude, the fact that he brings that they bring in their own brand of like for instance, Santana, he's like, I got a deal from this from Carlos on 125th Street. Being from New York, I know where all that is, so it makes me feel connected to the show, and it's awesome, man. The look on just everything you said. Like, how can I say anything more? It was perfect. Like, the look on Jericho's face is like, really, you got more from Carlos on 125th? It was great.
He wasn't having it at the moment, but his reaction was priceless. It was great.
Listen. And Hager's face was the best because he had that expression, and then when he opened up the back of the truck, you saw Hager's face just go, oh.
Yeah, it's like you feel your soul just get drained out of you as soon as you see the what is it, hundreds of boxes full of Inner Circle champion T-shirts.
Oh my goodness! So you know where those shirts are probably going.
ProWrestlingTees.com.
Yeah, quite possibly. I was gonna say where every loser of a championship T-shirt goes. But moving on, we had Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks versus Private Party. Private Party had a pretty good showing tonight, better than Saturday night. But yeah, Matt Hardy and Young Bucks versus Private Party and Joey Janela. So a couple things happened here. Matt Jackson got into it with the Butcher and the Blade, and that set up for a little bit of a melee a little later on, which we'll get into. But yeah, we see Matt Hardy and the Young Bucks get the win. Then it gets a little interesting. We see the Butcher and the Blade. They come in to extract revenge and attack the Young Bucks. By this time, Matt Hardy was already backstage. Then we hear a little engine revving. So I'm like, okay, what is this? Is this like John Moxley coming out again? In his vehicle or whatever. I thought they were going to start something up there. But then a couple familiar faces show up. The FTR, formerly known as The Revival, now go by the names of Hardwood and Wheeler. They come in. You think they're going to attack the Young Bucks, but instead they attack the Butcher and the Blade first. And then we see a little bit of a standoff between the Young Bucks and FTR. So a pleasant surprise. I thought maybe they would have pulled the trigger on this during the pay-per-view, but that didn't happen. But we got it tonight. What did you guys think? What are your thoughts?
I loved it. I thought, one thing that I think that we've all understated the last couple of weeks is the brilliance of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy started this off, with changing from broken Matt Hardy back into Hardy Boy Matt Hardy back into Omega Matt Hardy, which was pretty cool. And I gotta tell you, the match itself was great. I believe there was an injury. I don't know if you guys noticed that too. There was definitely an injury there with a member of Private Party.
Yeah.
So they helped, they helped get him back to the backstage area before they did that. And then look, FTR, we all knew when they were in WWE, they were very unhappy. If you had the opportunity to listen to Talk is Jericho, they were on there. They explained what the whole situation was. This was like the worst kept secret in pro wrestling that they were coming over to AEW. And so, but you know what though? They're making an impact. And after getting to listen to their side of the story and what they want to accomplish, this is a perfect marriage, AEW and the FTR. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. I have a whole lot more respect for them after hearing their side of the story. I'm sheepishly plugging Jericho's podcast to listen to that episode, but I wish them all the success in AEW because they're two guys who just love wrestling and just love the business and want to be successful. And now they're in a situation where tag team wrestling is a priority. I think this is going to be great. And I think it's going to be, they're going to build that match with the Young Bucks. It's going to be, this might be a November, December type of matchup, not one for like Fyter Fest. Take this one because I know you want to jump in on this one too.
Well, no, definitely don't rush into this one. We all knew it was coming, so let's draw it out a little bit and make it special. Yeah. The match itself was really good. I mean, like Wayne said, Private Party. I'm losing my words today. Private Party looked very sharp today, considering that they weren't so sharp on Saturday, and very good, solid match. And the ending was unfortunate because I think Mark Quinn he might have hurt his knee at one of the dives. So I was hoping it was a work, but the fact that they helped him out and he didn't just walk out of there on his own, I really hope that it's not as serious as it looked. Because that guy, he can fly. When he flies, he makes it look effortlessly. I get jealous. It's like I can barely walk straight, and this guy is like doing flips he was invented to do flips. He's like a damn bird. So it was very unfortunate seeing that, but it was enticing seeing FTR finally make their entrance. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the Butcher and the Blade. I'm sure that they'll probably book that for a week or two from now. We'll get the Butcher and the Blade taking another loss there, building off FTR. And like you said, it's going to be a slow build. I don't see it being rushed. At least I wouldn't put it too far off in the future. Maybe All Out.
Yeah,
that's what, August. So I'd say a couple of months of kind of teasing it and finally giving it to us, because they've been talking about this match for years. I mean, they started the whole FTR, F the revival on being the elite, and they, like you said, they touched on it in the Jericho podcast, how they had no idea where it came from, and they kind of just want to prove that they're the best tag team out there. And if you guys have seen any of their stuff, which I know you two particular dudes have seen their matches, but if anyone hasn't seen their matches in the past, I mean, go back to their NXT days. Don't look at the main roster stuff.
Let me tell you, they've come a long way since they were the mechanics.
Yeah, and they
in NXT.
Yeah, but their matches with DIY, some of the best tag team matches I've ever seen.
Their best work was on NXT.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to see the Young Bucks and them go at it. That's been like a dream match of almost every wrestling fan that I've ever spoken to. Has always wondered how that match would be, and I'm looking forward to it. You got guys that flip, you got guys that just kick and punch. It's gonna be good.
I mean, nice with the ranking system in AEW now, it's very easy to get there whenever you want to get there. With FTR having a match with Young Bucks, you could do it in a form of a couple different ways. You could do it in the form of a number one contender match. Maybe at some point, Young Bucks will be the title holders, and they set FTR to fight Young Bucks for the titles. A couple ways you can get there. The ranking system helps. It doesn't necessarily have to be, heel versus face or some kind of storyline. It could just, it's very, very easy to get there. But I would say, don't rush it. Good point.
One thing that they said when they first started AEW was that they can transition from heel to face depending on the situation. I think that in this situation, maybe the Young Bucks might be looked at as the heels. I mean, they've been calling them out for years, and the Revival or FTR in this situation now, they've never kind of responded, or they had no clue why they were being called out and being the elite. So that this might be that one situation where it's like, okay, well, the Young Bucks are going to be kind of heelish. We saw that with the Omega and Kenny match. So that's what I find interesting, is the dynamic that they can switch, kind of in between heel and face, depending on the situation.
And the key thing too is, again, this is their opportunity to do things that they want and have creative input into how it's going to work. Whereas they were like, we've all saw what they were able to do in NXT against, DIY and Alpha and all those other great teams.
Yeah.
But now when I went to the main roster, it was almost like, I almost feel bad for these guys because all they want to do is just wrestle. So now they're in situations where they can be fighting against some really good teams. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing them against Private Party. Imagine them against the Lucha Brothers. Oh my God! It's like I can't wait for it. So for them, I'm excited for it. I'm just looking forward to it. I think this is a great way to get their feet in the water and get rolling at this point.
There's a lot of great possibilities. I mean, you could even do a match with FTR against Hangman and what's his name? I'm drawing a blank right now. Omega. You can do that if they haven't turned by that time.
Barroom Brawl.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that'd be perfect.
So many roads to get there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, Wayne, you just missed that too, because when they were right in the beginning before this match started, the Elite were together, and as soon as they said what a win for the Elite, Hangman Adam Page excused himself because he had to go to the hotel to start drinking, and Omega joined him. And so we this is M's favorite part of the show, so we have to make sure we address that Hangman Adam Page.
Didn't I text you guys immediately? I was like,
yeah,
I feel the third coming.
It's coming. It's coming, man.
Like, it might not be coming. It might not be coming at all. Omega may be the one that has a drinking addiction soon, and then you got a tag team that has a drinking addiction. He's on that route. It may not be a turn.
Anytime I ever hear anyone say they have a drinking problem, I keep thinking of the movie Airplane. Every single time he just takes a drink and he goes, "Oh, I'm missing his face."
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to happen because every single time they mention, okay, here's the Elite, he just gets so disgusted,
Yeah,
and just leaves every single time. So eventually, it's going to catch up.
He said he wanted to be out of the elite. He said, I'm done. I'm going to walk away, guys. And they keep pulling him back every time. There's times where they celebrate in the ring and they're inviting him to come in and celebrate. And he's like, guys, I told you I'm out. Like, leave me alone. And they keep on like this peer pressure. And I'm hoping the peer pressure is finally going to be like, you know what, guys, I'm done. And he's gonna do the buckshot lariat, and I'm gonna lose my mind, and it's gonna be great. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think that's eventually going to happen, where he's just like, dude, you guys don't get it. I don't want to do this anymore. And it's like,
yeah, because he keeps. And he dropped a hint last week on being the elite that, you know, like there's times when he did it in metaphors, because he was talking about home when he was talking about AEW. And he's like, there's times I just want to ride off into the sunset, you know, and if you listen to that monologue and you know that he's not talking about actual home, he's talking about coming back to AEW and all the momentum he lost because of the virus and everything, you see that he's going to turn. There's no doubt in my mind. And I can almost feel the turn, and he keeps teasing me. It's like that guy in that commercial with the $1 is like, oh, you almost got it. It's like, stop doing this to me and finally give me what I want. I want this heel turn.
It might happen. We'll see. It might, maybe not. Maybe they just tease it forever. But we'll see. We see the debut of Brian Cage. He's the winner of the Casino Royale to become the number one contender for the AEW World Title, which will take place at Fyter Fest. So we see the debut of Brian Cage, his first match on Dynamite. He gets the squash win over Lee Johnson. So right now they're in the middle of the build of Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley. What'd you guys think of this tonight?
I think
the question to you guys is, will Brian Cage be the guy to take the title off of Jon Moxley?
I was texting with you guys during this, and one of the things we all said was the integration of Taz into this whole situation.
So good.
Yeah, like the difference between integrating Taz into this mix for Brian Cage compared to putting like Tully and Arn with certain guys is Taz has the ability to talk people into an arena. He was able to do it as a wrestler with ECW, and putting him with Cage, and not that Cage has bad mic skills, but Taz was able to integrate himself in a way where it feels like Cage is fighting his battle for him, and he's giving you those great lines in the promo that makes you want to say, I want to see these two battle. So he's like, hey Mox, and you're just sitting there going, oh man. You can see Moxley just was itching to get in there with Cage, and Taz was just baiting him in, and he finished the promo off exactly the way it should have. And him and I both said the same thing. That's how you do a promo as a manager right there. And Taz, this is great for Taz, because for Taz, they didn't have a real role for him. I know you guys have all said to me, like, no, you don't need to do anything with the broadcast team. But I think with Dark, it should be like Taz and Excalibur, or I'm sorry, Taz and Tony Schiavone on Dark, and then mix and mingle everybody else in there during Dynamite. But this is a great role for Taz. I have no problem with it. And Cage is just like an animal. And again, he's just he's a big dude. I'm just hoping that
wonder how much steroids he's been taking.
Well, that's none of my business.
I ain't touching that.
Like, I'm wondering. I'm wondering what kind of chemistry he and Moxley are going to have together. That's gonna be the real question.
Yeah, I look forward to that too. And the fact that dude is so massive yet so agile. He's like, I don't know, like one of those big jungle cats that you fear. Like, I don't know, like a panther or something. It's like he's just so I'm just gonna rip you apart. And he's just gonna like toss. I mean, look how he tossed everybody the other night. And he tossed this guy, Lee. I felt bad for him. I saw Lee again, and I'm like, really? You're taking another L? It's like, damn. So okay, but he did it. He did the job. Talent. Yeah, he did the job, and this dude looks like a beast. And one of the things I was telling Randy, and it's something that I've always had a problem with pro wrestling, because sometimes we have a problem letting go of the past or wanting to relive the past. But this is how you do it. if you're gonna bring in somebody from the past, somebody we were all fond of, come on, who wasn't fond of the suplex machine? Like I said a couple of weeks ago, it might even been last week. Actually, it was Saturday when I was talking about Bam Bam Bigelow and Taz going through the stage. We live for the nostalgia, but there's a way to do it, and tonight was done perfectly. It's like the way he ended it. What was it? Beat him if you can, survive if he lets you. Right? Was that the line, Randy?
It was survive if survive if we let you. As soon as
no, he said if he said survive if he lets you. He did say he.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was great because it recalls what Taz used to say. It brought us back to those days of ECW where Taz was this badass. You know, it was like Taz was gonna rip you apart. He was gonna kill you. He was gonna suplex you to hell. So it brought us back there, but with a new talent. It didn't take anything away from Cage. It actually propelled him forward. And this is what we talk about when an older wrestler gives the guy a rub. That was a rub. There's so many times where an older wrestler comes in and he overshadows the talent. This was not one of those times. This was perfect. It set the tone and hit the right notes. And I couldn't be happier. Like I text you guys immediately when I heard it. I was like, oh my God. I got exactly what I needed from you. It's introducing me to new talent, but with the backing of somebody I know.
Let me ask you this, guys. Does Brian Cage take the title off of John Moxley come Fyter Fest?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay, so this is why I proposed to you this question, because this reminds me of a Brock Lesnar scenario, 2002.
That is true too.
Brock Lesnar, we don't know much about this guy. We heard about his hype. He's a big dude. He got a couple enhancement matches to make him look strong. Before we know it, in a month's time, he's in the King of the Ring tournament. He wins the King of the Ring tournament. Still green. He's only been on the scene for 2 months. And then a month and a half later, he takes the belt right off of The Rock at SummerSlam 2002, all within a 4-month span. Now, this could be a similar scenario. This is a very similar scenario right now, where Brian Cage coming on the scene wins the chip right away. He's going to build up for about a month or two, and then he's going to get his title match in first title match.
It could be. There's only one.
And also, John Moxley's had the belt for 4 months now. So by the time Fyter Fest rolls around, it's going to be about a 6-month reign, which around this time you can kind of the question becomes more debatable whether John Moxley will win the title or not.
See, what I was going to say was that the difference is that when Brock Lesnar came on the scene, he was unknown in the wrestling world. Brian Cage is known.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
He was a champion in Impact, and he lost it to Sami Callihan. He's also wrestled in AAA, so he's well known in the wrestling community. So if you're a wrestling fan, and a lot of the people that watch AEW are wrestling fans, they know who Brian Cage is, and that's why they popped on Saturday.
But the only thing is, Brian Cage is new to the new as a household name on mainstream TV, brand new.
Exactly.
So if people aren't watching the Indies or Impact, they don't know who this guy is.
But I will give you this: that he can very well take it. I just don't see it happening at Fyter Fest. That's the only thing that's throwing me off.
Yeah, I can't see it either. And one thing that I'm going to agree with you 110%. We have enough platforms now where there's enough footage out there of certain guys. You can watch them on Impact. There's definitely stuff out there. I'll tell you why I don't see it. I think there's more to it. I still think once we get through the stuff with the Inner Circle, I think they're going to find a way to get Moxley and Jericho back together with the Inner Circle, getting involved with that. I can't see Cage being the guy. I can also see that Omega, eventually they're going to build Omega back up to maybe get his win back versus Moxley too. So there's a lot of different scenarios. I can't see Cage coming in and making that big of an impact to where you have to say, oh, we have to give him the belt. Like, you have to remember what was going on with Lesnar at that time too. When Lesnar first came in, Austin just walked out. They were looking for something. There was a little bit of a boost with Lesnar. People had some interest.
And Rock was looking for a way out.
Rock was in and out because he was doing movies. Yeah. So they needed something. So there was a lot of different things going on at that time when they put Brock in that spot. So I don't think you can compare Cage and Lesnar to that situation, with the exception of the build. I think that they're onto something here. I think this is a situation where there's going to be a little bit more of a chase to get to Moxley for there to be a title change. I don't think there's that this is a chase situation for Brian Cage.
It could be. I think it's something we can discuss more later on. I don't think you let Brian Cage lose that soon. And if he does lose to Jon Moxley, it's going to have to be in the fashion of quite possibly how Brody Lee lost on Saturday night. Where he didn't tap, he didn't get pins, he passed out. It would have to be in some kind of similar situation to protect Brian Cage, if in fact you have a plan for Brian Cage.
Oh, they have a plan because
they have a plan.
Yeah. Tony Khan.
You have to protect them.
Yeah, Tony Khan after the pay-per-view had a media scrum virtually, and he says it. He's like, I put a rocket on Cage. I'm pushing him as far as I can, I really believe in this guy. We're putting a lot behind him. So he sees something there, and he's going to push him very hard. Whether I still think he's going to lose, but you might be right. Like, this would be a surprise to all of us that he comes in and just takes the title. I don't see it happening at Fyter Fest, but what if it does? This will have everyone talking, and AEW sometimes is unpredictable like that. I still don't see it happening. I don't believe it for 1 second, but can it happen? Yeah, sure. The possibility's there.
And you never know. And I just thought of a scenario where Brody Lee is going to want another title shot soon, so he could very well get, the Fyter Fest, first of all, if I'm not mistaken, to be a free pay-per-view, right?
That's the thing is that last year was, so it's probably going to be a free pay-per-view this year.
That's the case. I promise you, there will be shenanigans in that championship match, which I can see the Dark Order coming in, interfering, and then that would protect Brian Cage so he doesn't have to take the loss.
But I hope it doesn't go that way, because that's one of the things that they've stayed away from mainly. I mean, we've seen a couple of losses like that with the Inner Circle, but not many like skirmishes to stop title matches.
Well, they don't want to do that on paid pay-per-view.
Yeah, exactly.
Cody wants to give the fans some money's worth. They don't want those kind of shenanigans.
Exactly. And if Fyter Fest is to entice you to buy All Out, they do best. They would. How do I put it? It would be best if they didn't do that, because for someone who hasn't paid the $50 or $60 for it, this will be their first time watching it, and this is what they will expect next time. So
get as many eyes.
If you give them crap this time, they're going to expect crap when they pay for it. So I'm just not going to pay for it.
And not only that, but last year Fyter Fest gave his favorite MJF promo of all time. So
never forget that.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting in a video game store, he's talking garbage about video game fans and video games in general. It's great.
Moving on, we have a couple of viewers watching tonight. So we just want to thank you guys. Feel free to leave comments about what you thought of AEW Dynamite. We'll do our best to address them. Moving on, we got the rules of being a role model in a segment with Britt Baker. Let me tell you, I love the creativity with Britt Baker. I think that's kind of what's attracted me more to her characters, her creativity. Not as much as her delivery and talking, but her creativity is really good. Rule number 3, don't hurt the role model. So that's one of the rules that we got tonight. She calls out her conspirators, Statlander, Sheeta, and Nyla Rose, calls them out. And then she also introduces the board, which represented the Web of Evils.
Yep.
All centered around the brains of the operations, and at the center of that was Aubrey Edwards, the referee. And she points out how Aubrey Edwards was there each and every single time she's been injured this year. Oh, and she announced that she's going to be back at All Out, so she's not going to be gone for long.
Thankfully.
And how about the designer wheelchair? So what did you guys think of this segment?
This had Jericho coaching all over.
Yeah.
Listen, she's doing She's doing a great job. Obviously, coming off of this injury, I just read an interview with her that she said after she had concussions last year, she was very timid in the ring. Look, she's a work in progress, and it's progressing. You know, when we saw her for the first time last year at Double or Nothing, I remember looking at M going, they're going to put a lot of stock in her, but I don't think she's ready yet. She's getting there promo wise. I'll be the first one to admit when I'm wrong, and she's proven me wrong on whether she can talk. She's a great heel, and she's building. And I think that's the only thing you want to do when you see young talent is you want to see progress. And I think with her and some of the other young talent in AEW, you're starting to see that progress. We'll talk about some more young talent later on. We get to the Battle Royal about progressing, but Britt is doing a great job of channeling this. Remember, originally it was just the dentist. Now it's the role model thing. She's transitioning. She's transitioning well, and that's the one thing you want from young talent is you want progress, and that's what we're getting with Britt Baker.
Brandy, are you jumping on the Britt Baker?
Absolutely
bandwagon?
not. Absolutely not.
I feel like you're jumping on that bandwagon.
No, I'm actually being. I'm being impartial and saying. When I'm admitting that I'm wrong, she's doing a great job in getting into this character. She's your dentist. She's number 3 on your list, Wayne. So
listen, Wayne,
I just got the call. I have a dentist appointment in 2 weeks.
I'm jumping on this bandwagon, Wayne. I'm enjoying her heel work. You know, I'm a heel at heart. You win me over by doing things like this, by pissing off people, right, by making the crowd angry, by berating poor Tony Tony Schiavone. What is he? He's the human mic stand. Did I hear that right? She almost dropped an F-bomb today. She's like out the way. It's like, and I'm like, I caught that. That was awesome. I don't know if she panicked a little, but you know, like I enjoyed it. It showed a lot and a lot of growth. Like you guys said, she was just a dentist. She was just some chick coming in and wrestling, and like you could see that she was green. At one point when she had the concussion, I think at what was it, Fighter Fest or Fight for the Fallen?
Fight for the Fallen.
Yeah. And she ran over to the wrong corner and tried to tag out, and we were all looking like this is going to be the next female you really push. So there was worry there, but you know what? Like Tony Khan is looking like a great talent scout. He's picking these people out before they even know how talented they are, and this AEW has become this form of like, listen, just go out there and do it, man. And a lot of people, they're going out there and they're discovering that they got what it takes. And right now, she's showing exactly that she's as talented as Tony Khan and everyone at AEW thought she would be. The creativity, and I love the delivery. She looks like a jerk. You know, she's just like, get that thing for me. Get the paper. You know, flip it. It's great. Just the delivery, her facial expressions. She has that I'm better than you, just get it done look. And you just want to slap her upside the head. It's great. That's how you're a heel. That's how you make everyone hate you. I love it. The art of being a heel is very close to my heart. So she's won me over 110%. I am Team Britt right now. I'll let her work on my teeth.
Listen. I just want to say this to M too. Don't confuse being impartial and jumping on a bandwagon. I'm just being 100% honest. All right. I think she's doing a great job. And again, and that's the one thing I'm saying. I'm not jumping on that bandwagon yet because her in-ring work still has to get better. But as far as delivering and being a character on television and being able to get the fans pissed off at you, she is doing an excellent job.
But
so
even her ring work is getting better. If you haven't noticed, her match with Sheeta is great. And
even much better.
The little bit that we saw in the tag match before she got hurt was pretty good. Like she's green. She's only got 3 years of experience. You're not gonna get any better if you don't go out there and do this. No. And she's been doing it, and she's been getting better, and it's only gonna get better from here. So as a fan and as a fan of heel wrestlers, I'm really excited to see what comes next. I just hope she has a speedy recovery and we get a kick-ass match at All Out.
Tonight we had Akira Hikaru Shida, the new AEW Women's Champion, versus Christy James. I personally don't know much about her. She had a decent showing for the time she was given. Shida with the win tonight. So I wanted to ask you guys, who is Shida's next contender for the title?
No, probably Nyla,
first contender.
Nyla for a rematch. I think.
I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. I think you give Nyla a rematch. I think Nyla's case is she has to win in a no DQ match to beat her. So I think she's going to come out and say, like, I want to do it in a wrestling match and see what happens, and they can build off of that. Again, AEW doesn't really do the long-term storytelling like we've been saying about MJF and Cody. It felt like everything abruptly stopped, and eventually it'll pick up later on. I'm just saying that if they decide they want to go that route, Nyla can go into the, hey, you had to use weapons to beat me, now try and do it with your hands. And then Nyla can always go back and try and win the belt. That's where I think they should go at this point.
See, what do you think? I love everything you said except the timing. She cannot be the next challenger. You have to have fresh challengers. And that's one of the things about other companies is that we see the same challenger week in, week out, month in, month out. The one thing that I really enjoy about watching All Elite Wrestling is that they have different challengers from week to week, from month to month. We don't see the automatic rematches or constant ad nauseum matches of this guy winning and then this guy wins. I hate the 50-50 booking, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see an automatic rematch for Nyla, but I do think that they have to meet again. Not soon, but maybe in a couple of months' time. Yeah. So for to answer your question as to who, she would have to go against Statlander. Yeah. Statlander had a match. She beat Penelope Ford at the pay-per-view. She's building a little bit of momentum, but the problem is that not a lot of people will have momentum at the moment. So I'd say give it to Chris Statlander, let them go at it, and she's just going to have a successful title defense. I wouldn't mind seeing that match, honestly. And then eventually, maybe the next opponent could be the next major opponent, because she's going to have opponents here. She's probably going to face Penelope and who knows who else. Actually, the girl she faced today, what's her name? Jamie?
Mm-hmm.
Jamie?
She's James.
She's very good. I saw her on Dark back, I believe, in November. It was early in the Dark days. She was very good then. I forgot who she fought. She even might have fought Hikaru Shida. But it was a good match, and I enjoyed seeing her. And I was actually happy when I saw her tonight on Dynamite. I was like, oh, man, I remember when she was on Dark. And so I was cool with that. They have to start implementing a lot of the people that they use on Dark on Dynamite, and I think slowly but surely they have. So I'm happy to see that. But I still say Chris Statlander should be the next challenger.
A couple more talking points before we wrap it up tonight. We got an interview with Cody Rhodes. Great promo. Absolutely. Randy, would you like to start us off with that?
Can I tell you, one of the things that he has got from his dad has been able to give you the gift of gab, and being able to talk people into a building has been one of Cody's strong points. And I got to tell you, I love what they're going to be doing with him. I almost call this the U.S. title invitational that John Cena used to do, where every single week he was giving somebody a match. I love the idea of that belt being on the line every single week on TNT. And I think Cody is the right guy to keep. I don't see him having really bad matches, whether he's fighting Darby Allin, whether he fights Sammy Guevara. When he's fighting, even when he was in the tag matches against the Butcher and the Blade, Cody is an excellent talent. And I understand that he has such a big hand backstage, but having him in the ring every single week is a strong thing for Dynamite to have, because he's going to be giving a lot of guys opportunities. Like Cena said, you want to get the opportunity to let these guys get their business card out there to show them what you can do, and maybe you'll even get an upset here and there. To see, I honestly, where I would like
Cody
to
also brought up Connecticut.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I'm not welcome in Connecticut right now. One of the things, this might be an opportunity for Darby to get that win somewhere down the line, because
That is true.
Darby has momentum as a face right now, and if eventually he gets a shot at the TNT title, Darby deserves that win against Cody, and once he gets it, boom, it's going to explode.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And what I find refreshing is that I look at the TNT title as maybe the TV title back in WCW.
Mhm.
It's defended weekly or at least mostly on TV. So I'm excited about that because it lends weight to the upcoming stars, something to challenge for while they're waiting around to finally get to challenge for the world heavyweight. Well, it's not even the world heavyweight now that I think about it; it's just the world championship. But it's a great opportunity, and who better to put these guys over than Cody Rhodes himself?
Exactly.
And he's done an amazing job. That first match with Darby is all I can think about. It's like he pushed these guys. And then let me ask you a question. The first episode of Dynamite. I know Wayne, did you watch that one?
Yes.
All right. Who was the first match on Dynamite?
That was Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin.
Sammy.
No.
Guevara.
Sammy. It was
Guevara.
Sammy. Yeah.
And look how far Guevara has come in those months. It's what, like 6-7 months later, and he's doing an amazing job. I watched his vlog the other day, and he was analyzing how far he's come. He showed up to Double or Nothing last year. He was in the Battle Royal. This year, he was in the main event, and just showing who he wrestled first. Cody Rhodes. He put him on the map. And he's going to do this to a lot of those new talents like Darby Allin, Jack, Jungle Boy Jack Perry. It's going to happen. Yeah, I lost his last name there for a second. And you're going to see this time and time again. And I'm really excited. Actually, I'm wearing a Cody shirt right now. So that's how excited I am about that. And I look forward to it, because like I said the other day, this is the future of the company. You have to groom them, you have to mold them, you have to shape them, especially in our eyes. And who better than to do that with competitive matches week in and week out than Cody Rhodes? I think it was a great idea. I'm so down for this.
Tonight we had Jimmy Havoc versus Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian, accompanied by Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast favorite Penelope Ford versus SCU. Havoc and Sabian with a big win with the Michinoku driver. I want to ask you guys something. I picked up a little something in the commentary. Did Excalibur give away the result of Havoc and Sabian versus Hangman and Omega, which will happen as a result of tonight's win? But do you guys think he gave away the results? Because I don't know if you picked it up, but
I probably did.
Goes on to say, he says they will face best friends at Fyter Fest. Then he automatically corrects himself, saying whomever the champions are at the time will face best friends.
That is true. He did say that. I caught
to that. Oh, and also JR made a rib against WWE tonight, mentioning about the plexiglass when who was getting, we talked about it before, getting into it with Butcher and the Blade, and Young Bucks.
Yeah,
the Young Bucks were getting into it with Butcher and the Blade, and then JR made a plexiglass comment because WWE has plexiglass on their ringside and ring entrance area, so the fans, which are NXT guys, I guess, don't get saliva on the wrestlers while they come out. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but JR made a comment about it. I thought it was funny. I don't know if you guys caught that. But again, getting back to Excalibur, I feel like he gave away the results in the middle of his commentary by accident.
Well, dude, it's like I've been saying. It's going to happen. They're going to lose the titles. Hangman's going to lose it, and he's going to turn. This is feeding me. Come on. You're feeding me.
Well, I will tell you that about the actual
match. It could
match,
be the straw that breaks the camel's back, but I'm not sure.
Exactly. Please let it be the straw. I'll put on my shirt.
It might be the drink that finishes the keg. Listen, I want to. I think that like the other thing too that was like a little bit of a non-story in the match, but like I sort of picked up on it was SCU, and they keep hinting like SCU is talented enough to not have to be at a tag team situation. I think they're going to do one of two things here. I think they might break them apart because like Daniels was in the Battle Royal, Kazarian and Sky are out there, and they're not really in the mix right now. So I think maybe they might be done for them. Like I think maybe it might be a breakup, or everyone just goes to separate. It might be one of those things. I'm trying to use the best example of a tag team that used to do this, where they used to just to break. It's like the Hart Foundation back in the day. You saw Jimmy Anvil, Neidhart, Bret Hart used to wrestle individual for a little while, and then they keep coming back as a tag team, which could be what SCU eventually does. But I felt like a team like Havoc and Sabian. I think this was more of a we're going to let them over, and SCU sort of getting pushed to the side because they were the featured tag team for a little while, the first tag team champions they had. It's a shame to see how hard they've fallen. I'm a big fan of SCU. I'm still on their bandwagon. They're still on their bandwagon. Yes.
You're on their bandwagon, eh? You like that word?
Listen, I still think it's going to be a good match no matter what. I haven't really been disappointed with the in-ring work of AEW at all. So I'm still looking forward to the match. A little disappointed SCU lost, but Havoc and Sabian have turned out to be a very, very fun team to watch. And listen, who hasn't driven a Ford lately? So, that's all I have to.
God. Anyway.
Very, 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 very tasteless.
Jesus. Anyway.
Well, let me bring a point. I think it's Scorpio Sky might break out as a single star eventually.
I think so too.
And that's what's going to happen because Tony Khan has said it.
I think Daniels and Kazarian are kind of there just to help bring Scorpio Sky up.
Yeah, because you can tell even when they were in the tag team tournament. Come on, Scorpio Sky. He wrestled with no shoes on. He wasn't ready. He looked great. And the way they presented him, I'm telling you, this is future champion right there.
Right.
They are going to push
eventually.
And adding to that, Daniels is also the head of talent relations behind the scenes. So that's another thing too. You don't see him out there much. Kazarian could do his own thing as a singles. Sky is a star in the making. All joking aside, I think if they all went their separate routes, I think Kazarian will end up getting lost in the shuffle somewhere. But I think you can see it happening. Whereas Daniels has more days behind him than he does in front of him as far as being in the ring.
Yeah, I think he was ready to retire before he was hired by AEW. He was already thinking about hanging up the boots. Yeah. So it looks like he's taking a backstage role, and he just makes appearances here and there. I don't think he's going to be in major storylines. I think mostly it's going to be Kazarian. And it'd be interesting if they do a whole breakup angle where it's like Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. I mean, they teased it at the ladder match. And I think it's going to be pretty cool, and I would like to see them go at it. I'm a sucker for the whole, tag team breaking up and dissension. Remember, I'm a Shawn Michaels fan, so I'm showing my roots here.
Throw me through the glass window.
Yeah, he threw himself through the glass window, and I'd be down to see that again, and to see SCU go down that route. Got no problem with it, but definitely Scorpio Sky is a star in the making, and you can tell. And there's no secret there. And so I guess they're just trying to soften the blow when it finally does happen that they're not going to be a tag team anymore.
Tonight, we had the Battle Royal. The Battle Royal faces Cody Rhodes, I believe next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But before we get to the match, we had a little bit of a tease tonight with MJF and Wardlow with a little dissension. And then we see it a little bit later on in the match with MJF hitting Wardlow with his AEW ring. And that basically ended the night for Wardlow as far as that match goes. Couple other talking points in this match with Santana and Ortiz jumping Orange Cassidy. So a little bit early in the night, Orange Cassidy was just aimlessly walking in the background while on camera while Inner Circle was doing their promo with the five of them, which I thought was pretty funny.
I love it.
And it apparently made them mad. So as their revenge, Santana Ortiz jumped Orange Cassidy, hitting him with the sock filled with balls. And you see Wardlow protecting MJF the whole time during the match, which I thought was interesting. This all leading up to right before MJF knocked out Wardlow, and then we get a surprise. We get a surprise. The last two people in the ring was Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy. Then they had a nice little match there, which I thought was pretty cool. And so Jungle Boy gets the win, and he goes on to face Cody Rhodes next week for the TNT Championship on Dynamite.
I said it to you guys right after the Battle Royal. Cassidy didn't need that win. And since last year, Double or Nothing, when Jungle Boy came on the scene, I will tell you that he has been sort of hurting for that win. There's so much you can do for him. He's such a good young talent, and he's doing a great job with growing and progressing. Goes back to like we were saying about Britt Baker, progressing as a talent and seeing them just get better and better. And Jungle Boy has certainly done that, and this win does so much more for him than it would have done for Orange Cassidy. Cassidy is over as it is. He doesn't need anything. He's going to be going in with this thing now with the Inner Circle, which is going to be a lot of fun. So this is a big win for Jungle Boy. And it was interesting was the talent that was in there for the Battle Royal. You saw guys in there you haven't seen for, like you saw Billy Gunn in the ring. When was the last time we saw Billy Gunn in the ring? It was just an interesting Battle Royal. And then at the end, something that I know M picked up on it too was that Colt Cabana was flirting with the Dark Order. So yeah. I got a kick out of the Battle Royal. I liked it. The last two was great. It's always fun watching MJF get upset. To me, that was the best part about it. Wayne's fellow Long Islander getting upset. So that's what it looks like when Long Islanders get mad. So I just, I enjoyed everything about the Battle Royal. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it's exactly what it needed to be. And Jungle Boy, as soon as he won, I popped. I'm not going to lie to you, because he needs that win. And he's one of those wrestlers that you get excited to watch. He's young. I think he's 22 years old. He lost his dad not too long ago, and he dedicates a lot to his father. So it's really interesting that they chose him to win this Battle Royal, and I'm looking forward to seeing the match that him and Cody put on, because we saw what he did. Yeah, we saw what Jungle Boy did with Chris Jericho back in, I think, November or December. Was it? So this will be another one of those.
What is it? Is it a 10-minute Iron Man match, or I think the stipulation was that Jungle Boy would have to last 10 minutes, which he did.
Would have to last 10 minutes, and he did. And he was in the walls of Jericho for the very ending, I believe, and he withstood it. So I think this is going to be one of those times. Obviously, he's not going to win, but it's going to be interesting to see how good the quality of the match is. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the quality. He's going to come up short, but he's going to look strong. And each defeat, he'll look stronger and stronger until he finally gets that victory. And I'm looking forward to. That's one of the guys, like I said, these young guys, it's so exciting to see them. They're growing in front of us daily, along with the organization. So it's a very exciting show time. I love being a wrestling fan, and these are the things that excite me as a wrestling fan, to see all these guys just become who they're gonna be. And later on, you're gonna see little kids running around with Jungle Boy T-shirts and toys, and we can say, "Hey, we saw him get there." We saw the journey to what he's going to become, and I'm all for it, man.
And by the way, I want to give you guys some breaking news at shopaew.com. The FTR T-shirts are now available.
That was quick.
that was very quick. So
we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, listen to what you're saying about Jungle Boy too. He's a young prospect too, and we bring up the match with Jericho notwithstanding, we were able to see that against MJF on Saturday night. We were able to see that over the last year. We've seen him go back and forth, and that's one of the things that Em and I have been talking about. I joke around a lot with a lot of different things about AEW, but one of the things I will say is I was saying about the Jurassic Express. Luchasaurus is a little bit of a comedy act. Let's be honest, what it is. Marco Stunt is a comedy act. It is what it is. But you see the talent that Jungle Boy is, and the problem is with a lot of their losses, he's been taking the pinfall, not Marco. When it's been all three of them together, and I've always felt that was sort of like in the beginning. Okay, he's paying his dues a little bit, but lately he doesn't need to be taking those pinfalls. So now he's getting some wins, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does against Cody, because I think it's a different style. One of the things I love about Cody is he's able to adjust his style. He was able to do it with Archer, able to do it with MJF, with Jericho, Sammy, Darby Allin. Cody's able to adjust and make sure he can make sure the shine gets on some of the other guys. So this is going to be a lot of fun with Jungle Boy, because he's a hell of an athlete, and Cody's going to bring the best out of him next week.
I mean, did you see the way that they ended that battle royal?
Yeah.
It was like what is the head scissors toward the outside, and then he kind of just hangs there, and that's not easy, man. So we see his athleticism week in and week out. He's very impressive.
What would have been very impressive, though, when Cassidy was hanging by one arm, if he would have looked at the camera and gave the thumbs up while he was doing that, that would have been classic.
Nah, he didn't need any. See, that's the thing is Jungle Boy, he's the more serious character of that whole trio. Like, just like you said, he's more the wrestler than he is the comedian, although he does have a couple of comedic spots here and there.
Yeah, and I think it wouldn't be a bad thing for this to take him away from that group and give him a little bit of a different role, because the kid is talented, and I think the gimmick sort of hampers him a little bit right now.
And I don't know if you noticed, but he's putting on the pounds, man. He's putting on muscle.
Oh yeah, no, I did. Once you brought that up, I noticed that. He looked a little more beefier, so to speak.
Yeah. Like I said, they're growing up right in front of us, man.
Absolutely. They all are.
Impressive. Yeah.
They all are. Moving on, our last talking point tonight, then I got to bring up a couple things, but the Inner Circle celebration closed out the show. It basically ended in a melee, which I thought was pretty cool, but the segment itself, you see Jack Hager giving a poem. You see Sammy Guevara giving the group trophies. Chris Jericho gives Sammy a scooter, which looked all too familiar to me. That's pretty much the same scooter that I rode around at work while I was recovering from Achilles. You see Ortiz is given a pair of headphones. And then Sammy Guevara asks what Chris Jericho wants. And then he goes on to say that he wants Tyson's head on a platter because Tyson turned on him on a Monday night. So again, another WWE reference tonight. Mike Tyson arrives just after the cheese. They discovered that the cheese was gone and the bubbly was gone. They're wondering out who ate the cheese and the bubbly. And Sammy Guevara swears it was all there. And then all of a sudden, Mike Tyson's music hits. And then you see his whole entourage show up. Jericho demands an apology. And all of a sudden, you see the pushing and shoving going back and forth. And then we got ourselves a Dynamite brouhaha. So what did you guys think of this segment? I thought it was a pretty cool way to close out the show.
I felt like there's two things that came to my mind. One, it was another Jericho segment. Okay, like you're starting to see where Jericho gets his hands on it, and I will tell you that the stuff with the cheese and the where is this stuff, and then all of a sudden Tyson's guys come out with all of it and everything. If I was like, okay. And then one of the things that it was a funny observation that we were talking about is Tyson's ripping his shirt off. Okay. And Jericho's talking. Jericho's, yes, you look like you're in great shape. And he's continuing on with the promo. It was like, I immediately thought of Em sitting there saying, this is something that Em and I are going to talk about later because it's too funny. Yes, you're in great shape. Meanwhile, I want an apology from 10 years ago. I'm like, Just like
That was great.
Just like when Jericho first started with AEW, I didn't get my thank you from AEW. And so it's like they found a way to bring up past history to help advance the story. It's not referencing WWE, but it's referencing WWE.
Oh, we know, yeah.
Yeah. And so the funny thing was, it almost like they're trying to obviously reenact the original Tyson Austin thing, which was awesome at that time, and it felt really, really cool. But there's only problem I have is with it is how relevant right now is Mike Tyson, where there's a lot of casual people who are looking at Mike Tyson going, I don't know much about Mike Tyson. Where back in the day, everybody knew who Mike Tyson was, and it was a huge deal that he was in there with Austin. Now people have to sort of do a little bit of research to figure out who Mike Tyson is, about his history. No. Remember, people our age will argue that point. I'm talking about that 22, 23-year-old who've only heard the legend of Mike Tyson.
Exactly, but they know the legend, so they know who Mike Tyson is, and they'll immediately tell you that he's the guy that bit the other dude's ear off. So they know who Mike Tyson is. You know, like I've seen memes on Facebook and Instagram with Holyfield missing an ear, trying to put on a mask during the quarantine, and he's like, "Oh, thank you, Mike." So trust me, people know who Mike Tyson is. He's in movies. He has his own cartoon. Trust me. He's relevant, all right? Mike Tyson's relevant.
I wasn't saying he wasn't relevant, but they know him from the cartoon.
They know him. It doesn't matter. They know that he used to be badass, but they know Mike Tyson. To say that if you go up to a 22-year-old and you go, hey, you know who Mike Tyson is? They're going to say, hey, yeah, it's the guy who bit that dude in the ear while he was boxing. They know who Mike Tyson is. I refuse to hear that they don't know who Mike Tyson is. A 22-year-old knows who Mike Tyson is.
It's going to help draw some eyes onto the program, I would think, especially if a certain broadcast channel like ESPN decides to highlight Mike Tyson. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm not too sure if WWE would be happy with that, though. But I wouldn't doubt if it gets a little mainstream publicity on TV. So we'll have to see what happens there. Great segment. I thought it was entertaining. Not a whole lot to go off here at the moment, although I think they might build to a special Jericho versus Mike Tyson boxing match.
Something, yeah.
That's the only thing I can see you can do.
There was one thing you forgot, and that was very important, and you have Hispanic blood in you, was that they gave they gave Sammy some Vicks. All right?
Yes.
You have to mention the Vicks. That's very important, man. The curative powers of Vicks is amazing. Every time I have allergies, I use it. I have it in my hands for a reason. So the Vicks was very important, dude. That had to be said in the Deep Six podcast. We have to promote Vicks.
I have a question for you guys.
He's like, yeah, on to the next topic.
We have a rumor.
And now you had yours.
Oh, I know exactly what he's going to ask.
Here we go.
We have a rumor we have to talk about, and you might know where I'm going with this, M. But it's making its way through various wrestling websites this week about the contract of Adam Cole. His contract supposedly ends relatively soon this summer.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the program with Velveteen Dream. I think that's who he'll probably drop the title to at WWE NXT rather, In Your House. So that's something to keep an eye on there. But yeah, his contract ends somewhere during the summer, June, July. And people are speculating that he could come to AEW, which would be great for AEW. You're going to see it. It's going to draw some eyeballs away from NXT on a Wednesday night to see what he's doing on Dynamite. I also think this is a huge possibility because of Britt Baker being there in AEW. They may want to travel together and see each other more. A lot of different real life scenarios here. I think it would be a little bit of a hurting on NXT brand if he leaves. It'll definitely hurt Undisputed Era. So there's a lot of things, a lot of layers to this possibility of maybe him leaving when his contract is over. What do you guys thoughts?
Take it away, Randolph. I always go
Uh,
wrong.
So yeah, I think it's very interesting. It's a very interesting theories that we're throwing out here about Adam Cole possibly leaving. Obviously, all the signs are there because his girlfriend is there, and he's showing up to Memorial Day parties, hanging out with the crew there, and they're all welcoming him in there. But at the same time, don't underestimate the checkbook. And he's still under an NXT contract. He's not making as much as a lot of the guys on the main roster. And he hasn't gotten that big payday, and it's not saying he wouldn't get it with AEW, but we've all seen it. CM Punk, says every once in a while, get offered that money. He was out the door in 2011, and they talked him into staying during that show because of the money that they were able to offer. And he says, "Well, I'll give the college try." Adam Cole and some of these other guys, and Johnny Gargano is another one, just don't want to come up to the main roster because they know what's going to happen to them. So if you've accomplished everything that you can in NXT and you don't want to go up on the main roster because if you know the nonsense that's going on there, then why not take the shot? It's not like if it doesn't work out that WWE will never welcome you back. I guarantee you, look, they brought back guys that you never think would ever come back. Did you ever think after the screw job you'd ever see Bret the Hitman Hart back on WWE TV?
Hey, Ultimate Warrior.
Ultimate Warrior. There's only been one guy. There's only been one guy who's disappeared from WWE TV that never came back.
Yeah, stayed disappeared. That's Mr. Macho Man.
Yeah. Right. So just for whatever the reason, he was the only guy that never came back. But everybody else has come back. The NW. What?
Oh, not to mention Lex Luger.
Well, yeah, Luger.
Luger's a crackhead, isn't he? I mean, he's cleaned up, but wasn't there a lot of drug problems there? Didn't he kill somebody?
Oh yeah, 2000.
He killed Miss Elizabeth. Yeah.
I think he killed someone.
Listen. Yeah, Luger is the only guy I know who jobbed to Mabel, and the next night showed up on Nitro, getting in Hulk Hogan's face. So, but I'm just saying in general, though, if Adam Cole decided to pick up and go to AEW, and all of a sudden it didn't work out there, you think Vince and Triple H, especially Triple H, is not going to welcome him back with welcome arms? So I think that I could see that happening more than some of the other guys. Like, there's a long list of free agents available right now. One being Rusev, who I still think is going to show up in AEW at some point.
Drew Gulak.
Yeah. Drew just resigned.
He just resigned. Okay.
He just resigned with it. So I listen. I think it can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. And if you do that, then you just have to split up the Undisputed Era. And
shame.
Yeah.
Listen,
you can still keep that. You can still keep that group together, but losing Adam Cole loses a big element of that group.
I mean, he is the group. Let's be honest.
He's the focal.
Absolutely is the man, and I would kill for him to be in AEW. I mean, there's a reason that he's at all these parties. His girlfriend is there, and he's good friends with the Elite. He always has been. They were in Bullet Club together. They were in Ring of Honor together. Actually, I sent you guys a video of him being kicked out of the Bullet Club earlier from Ring of Honor. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I think it's interesting. I don't think that it'll happen simply because everyone is reporting it. And there's a lot of time on his contract left. And when we talk about wrestling time, I kind of think of it like dog years. It's like if you have a couple of months, it's like a couple of years. Like, so much can happen. I mean, I was holding my breath for Marty Scurll to come to AEW, and we all saw how that ended up. He signed a massive deal with Ring of Honor, became their booker. So that dashed my dreams. Although he did show up on Be the Elite this week, but I haven't finished the whole episode. But I digress. Is it possible? It's possible. Is it probable? I don't think so. I think they try to keep him on NXT. Maybe they throw the main event money at him, but keep him down there. But you never know. I mean, I haven't heard any rumblings of him being unhappy, but I have heard rumblings that he's not allowed to go to the AEW tapings to go see his friends or his girlfriend. So I think that was interesting to hear because she was allowed to go watch him on NXT. They even showed her on TV. Remember, we all saw
it
that.
was a complete accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. It was an accident. But, we all thought she would get in trouble with AEW for being there. And Tony Khan is just like, whatever. Like, I don't care. He's a cool dude like that. At least I think he is. He comes off like that. But I'd love to see Adam Cole make the move to AEW and see him go work in Japan and maybe even have like an interpromotional thing with Ring of Honor. Do I see it? I mean, if he's unhappy in WWE, then it's more of a possibility. But I haven't heard any reports that he's unhappy. It's all just speculation at this point that his contract ends in a couple of months. For all we know, they're renegotiating at this very moment. So I'm going to be in the no camp. I don't see it happening, although I am secretly wishing it does. So I don't want anybody to think that I wouldn't love to see Adam Cole in AEW because that would be I want to see all of them in AEW.
Talk about a major shot in the arm if AEW lands Cole.
I mean, he's a hell of a talent. I mean,
he's basically becoming a household name now.
Yeah, he can talk. He can wrestle. Like his matches with Gargano. Oh man! I mean, we saw it at the Barclays. Remember, we were all there. Thanks to Randy. Thank you again, Randy. That you hooked us up last year. We all went to the Barclays to watch it last year. The
Takeover WrestleMania.
And it was amazing. I mean, we saw better wrestling at that show than actual WrestleMania that weekend. And then I was spoiled again because the next day I went to go see the G1 climax at MSG with Ring of Honor and New Japan. And like I said, my mind was blown wrestling-wise that weekend. By the time I got to Mania, it was all crap to me. It was like, I can't do this. This is crap. That was wrestling. So that was like a major. If anything, you can blame Randy. Blame Randy, everyone. Now I'm an elitist. I'm always talking about other federations. I used to be a diehard WWE guy. Him and my son are at fault. They kidnapped me and made me watch real good wrestling.
And your son, I think, has become an Archer, Mark.
Yeah, man. He's got the braids and everything. He was here. He was mad as hell when he lost, though.
Real quick, I wanted to just throw something in here. There was an article on Forbes about how the NXT performers have been really upset about their payoffs and also about the money that they're making down in NXT, which might be one of the reasonings. There's a lot of talk about guys wanting to leave. Guys whose contracts up besides Cole's coming up. You have Gargano's coming up at the end of the year. Ciampa's coming up, who's another one who says he doesn't want to go up to the main roster. And the one that's very, very interesting, which nobody's really talking about, is Finn Balor's up in November. So that's another one that's really, 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 really interesting.
Well, Finn Balor's getting that main roster money, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's actually a problem that they were just talking about on how Finn Balor is making main roster money right now down in NXT, while which guys are not even eating. And if you want to talk about guys, or another guy who's not interested in going up to the main roster, is a guy who actually had success when he was performing on the main roster during some of these pay-per-views, and that's Keith Lee, when he had a great showing at Survivor Series and a great showing at the Royal Rumble. But he's another one who's expressed not wanting to come up to the main roster, wants to continue working with Triple H because he feels that he's being presented the right way in NXT. So that to me is a very, very, very big telling point. Adam Cole.
Hey, listen, if WWE wants to keep these guys, they're going to have to work around it. And they're going to have to pay. They're going to have to, overcome those problems about why they don't want to come up to the main roster and then fix that. And then also pay.
One of the things that I'm sorry, Randy, because I saw your lips moving a little bit, but I'm going to interrupt for a second. One of the things that annoys me or irks me is that they keep saying that there is no difference between NXT and the main roster. NXT is the main roster. So if NXT is the main roster, pay them like the main roster. You can't have Charlotte and Finn Balor making like main roster money and everyone else eating ramen noodles. And that's assuming that that's what they're being paid. I honestly don't know the contracts, but it's significantly less than the main roster. So NXT is on TV now. What is the excuse that they're not being paid properly?
And I want to throw something else out there too. Is I always look back. If you look back at WrestleManias through the years, I always felt like the roster goes in a 3-year span as far as being able to rotate guys around who are significant, being in major feuds, and then you see the roster gradually change. I'm looking at the roster, the main rosters now at WWE, and there's guys who have been there forever, who've been through everything that you could possibly put them through, besides putting their championship on them.
Randy Orton.
Well, there's also guys who are so underutilized, not getting any opportunities, like Cesaro, and you can go over guys and start picking them out. But like, I don't need to see feuds with Baron Corbin anymore. I think Seth Rollins is played out. Roman Reigns, obviously, we all know how we feel about Roman. And even Bray Wyatt, I think that you've sort of exhausted everything that you can possibly do with him. The Fiend character has been great. It's been a nice change, but at the same time, you've still seen him go against a lot of the guys who he's going against right now.
Exactly.
So that's one of the main reasons why I've lost interest in the main roster. And I don't mind watching NXT. I don't mind watching AEW. I finally watched the first couple episodes of the NWA Power thing on YouTube, and I really enjoyed that because it was different. You know what I mean? And I'm getting around to watching Impact again and just checking that out. And the older stuff on WWE Network to me is fun, but the current stuff on the main rosters, it's almost like you feel like you're wasting your time watching.
Well, I have to defend Raw a little bit. Raw has been fresh in their content every just about every single week. The new guys are being pushed for one reason or another. With wrestlers not being able to make it to the Performance Center because of the COVID-19 has given opportunity for new faces. And most of those new faces have been showing up on Raw, making the content fresh. Seth Rollins' character has been fresh. He's been doing very good owning that. New stable with Seth Rollins, Austin Theory, and Buddy Murphy. We have a new U.S. champion. What's his name? Smiley.
Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews. We have a new U.S. champion. We got Asuka with the belt. She's been doing some really good stuff. Raw's been pretty good. Watch SmackDown on the hand. Not so much. I can't say the same thing for SmackDown. I'll agree with Randy on SmackDown, but I'll defend Raw. Raw's been good because Heyman's been booking it, and everything's been fresh.
I'm going to say the one thing, and Em and I have said this.
AEW is still my favorite show.
Em and I have been saying this for the longest of time now. When you have a 3-hour show compared to what it was for all those years when it was a 2-hour show, it's much easier to cut segments out than it is to add them in. And I think that the Monday Night Raw lost something when they moved to 3 hours full time. And I know for a fact you can't do it from an ad revenue thing. You can't cut it back to 2 hours, but it's always easier to cut segments out. And during the Attitude Era, I know I'm going back to the Attitude Era by saying it, but we were able to cut segments out because there were certain things that were much more important to put on. And when you're trying to fill time comparing to cut time, it's a major difference. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that they've had with Monday Night Raw.
Well, Raw's been much better with that, though. Their match time is a lot longer. We had Apollo Crews going against Aleister Black for a half an hour. I mean that match kind of put Apollo Crews right back on the map. Just because of match, so they've been allowing match time to go on a little bit longer. I have noticed that, which is much needed too.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a little too late. I've been watching Raw for countless years. For them to start giving me breadcrumbs now is too late. You lost me. You were supposed to give me this years ago. When I tune into a wrestling show, I expect to see wrestling. If I see any more Jerry Springer type stuff, I'm gonna lose my damn marbles. I'm done with this whole Jerry Springer. I didn't even like Jerry Springer in the 90s. I didn't want Jerry Springer in my wrestling, and it's gotten to the point where it's like, all right, let's take Jerry Springer out, and now it's wrestling for kindergartens. I don't want to watch PG stuff either. I'm a grown ass man. I want to see wrestling. And
thank you, Vince Russo.
Unfortunately, exactly. I on there. I guess I'm your Jim Cornette for the night. I agree with Jim on this one. He like destroyed wrestling. It was all about the shock factor, and
You're
I
a
hated it.
heel.
Yeah. I will start hitting you guys with a tennis racket at any moment. I can promise you that. But no, I get angry because it's like I have to leave the product for you to kind of like go. You know what? We're losing people. Let me kind of make it back into a wrestling show. It should have been a wrestling show from the beginning. It was always a wrestling show. You're not even allowed to say wrestler. They're superstars. It kills me. It fills me with such angst. Don't get me started. You get me started.
Well, listen, we're going to get you started even more when we talk more about Hangman and Omega. As we go by.
Yes.
Well, listen, guys, that pretty much wraps up our AEW talk tonight. Great show. Thank you so much for hopping on. For those who are viewing us online through our YouTube channel, feel free to give us a like and subscribe. Share with your friends if you like what you're watching. Please share us with your friends. We know you have wrestling fan friends, so give us a share. If you can't watch, you can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. And you can also follow us through backsportspage.com. Randy, there's your plug. And don't forget to check out Level 1 Games. Our boy M will hook you up.
I'm getting headphones this week, hopefully. So look for that.
Nice,
Woo-hoo!
nice. Gentlemen, thank you so much for hopping on tonight. Awesome show. There's a lot to look forward to. We have an awesome Dynamite next week.
I can't wait.
Until then, for those that are watching and listening, we will be back on Monday night following Monday Night Raw and next Wednesday following Dynamite. We'll catch you guys then. Have a good night.
Gentlemen, have a good night.
Later.